Welcome to episode 9 of Mental Mastery. We interview the world's greatest minds and what it takes to live an epic life. Today I'm joined by an absolute superstar in the endurance world, Emma Pallant. Starting her career as a distance runner, Emma enjoyed early wins in cross-country and track and field, where she won several medals at the European and World Championships. After barely missing the 2008 Olympics, she had her sights set on the 2012 Olympics at home in London, but was forced by an injury to pull out of the Olympic trials and end her track career. Instead of giving up on sports, however, she found a new love for triathlon and soon began to dominate the field by winning gold at Duathlon World Championships in 2015 and 16, as well as silver at the 2017 Half Ironman World Championships. So Emma, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Max. Thanks for having me, and thanks for such a lovely intro.
Oh, for sure, you deserve it. So one interesting thing I found on your blog, you talked about your motto for 2018 was a rise or fall, always respond the same. So what do you mean by that?
Yeah, so I think I've had take for example last season, the start of my season went really well. So I raced the reigning world champion at Kona, Daniela Riff, and probably quite unexpectedly beat her in a 70.3. So I had like a really great start to my season. And then I compare that to this season, not such a great start. I fractured my clavicle and separated it back in December.
Oh gosh.
So I didn't have the race that I wanted in January, and then had a tough time in April. So my first two opening races weren't the greatest for this season. And I think it's all about however you start, don't let it determine kind of what happens after that. So if you have a really great race, you want to use the positives from it and take confidence from it, and let it drive you for the rest of the season, but not to be complacent, not to relax on your training, like just keep doing everything that you're doing. And I think the same thing kind of if you have not such a great start to the season, it's just responding the same, not being complacent, still taking the positives away of what you do have, and just always, regardless of the results, just keep being positive and keep moving forward. And even within a race, like if you're not in a position that you want to be, I think it's still having that exactly the same mental frame of mind. If you're winning a race or if you're stone last, you still want to have that inner drive and that inner thing of just crossing the finish line with nothing left.
I love that. And I think one of the things that is interesting about your career is that after every kind of downtime, you're always able to get back up and actually become better afterwards. And I'm just thinking about, for example, actually one of the most fascinating things about your career found is that in 2012, when your dream of running at the Olympics at home in London was destroyed by that injury, you got back even stronger, and you had an even more successful career in duathlon and triathlon. So what's the story behind that?
Yeah, the same thing. I think kind of you can look at something as a negative, or you can think, okay, everything happens for a reason, and just because one door is closed doesn't mean it's maybe for a reason. Like maybe it's opening another one. When I had quite a bad knee injury and had an operation when I was 18, and I had to have some time off running. Like I accepted that, and it's just then problem solving and thinking, okay, so I can't run, but let's not dwell on that. Like, what can I do? Okay, I can swim. I can go on the rowing machine, like one-legged. I can do the hand bike. And all these things. I kind of, that's what drew me to triathlon, because I was swimming and biking a lot, and I just wanted an end goal to it. I wanted to think, okay, I'm not just training for the sake of keeping fit, because I love to compete and I love to push my body, and I want an end result of this. And that's what drew me to triathlon. And I really do believe that you can make no matter how bad things seem, you can always take something positive from it and believe that it's leading to something. As long as you make the most out of any situation.
Oh, for sure. And you had such a great story of how you kind of like got back into racing then with the London Triathlon. So can you tell me a little bit more about that, about your first race in the triathlon?
Yeah, so I was lucky enough to be mentored by Kelly Holmes. So when I was a runner, and she'd set up a charity, and she was she kind of sat down and talked to me when I had to drop out of the London 2012 trials, and she said, okay, like let's what do you want to do? Like, you're doing all this cross training. Like, what are you going to do with it? And I was like, well, I could race a triathlon. And she had a charity spot for her charity at London Triathlon, and she was like, you can do it for my charity. She got me an entry, and then they looked at my run times, and they bumped me up to the elite wave. And then I never looked back, really. I kind of fell in love with it from there, and actually I didn't want to just race. I thought, okay, I want to do this properly. I want to be coached into it, and that's where I searched for a coach. I found Michelle Dillon, and we've been working together ever since. So
yeah, that's so cool. I love that. So what are some lessons that you took away from kind of switching from running to triathlon? Because I know those are two very different sports, both mentally and physically. So what are some things that you learned? Yeah,
definitely. I think kind of naturally, I've always felt very much at one with running. I'm very it just, I feel quite natural when I'm doing it, whereas swimming is the total opposite. Like, suddenly I had a real challenge and a battle on my hands. I felt like when you're in the pool, it's not like, well, for me, it's not the more energy I put in, the faster I go.
Yeah.
It's a lot of brain training. It's a lot of, just doing very, like, learning a movement, and I'm always trying to perfect this movement. And I found it quite frustrating, but also in the same way, it's so much more rewarding. I think it's the fact of, so again, as a runner, there's very limited amount of training that you can do. Whereas this is what appealed to me about triathlon, is that I could spend 2 hours in a pool. I could then go out on the bike. I could then be running. I could literally be training all day. Whereas, as a runner, I was kind of, I never lasted. I think I lasted about 2 weeks as a full-time runner. And then I was like, oh no, I need to get a job. I need to do my physio, because I couldn't just sit around and because it was maybe a jog in the morning and a key session in the evening, but you had all that time in between, and some people were really good at it, like the guys would just go on a PlayStation or
you gotta have something to distract you, but after a while it gets boring.
Whereas I was like, no, I want a job. So I did a degree in physio, and so I picked up a job as a physiotherapist, and whereas triathlon, you can literally be training all day. You don't need to get a job.
That's crazy. And what a cool thing also is that actually, even after you stopped like focusing on running and started like the kind of triathlon thing, you actually got better at running. I think you ran like a 10K PR after you started training for a triathlon, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I purely put that down. So actually, as a runner, I was lighter. I had a lot less muscle, and maybe it was easier to run. But as a triathlete, like, I was so much fitter. I kind of and I feel like I can push my body to kind of new places of pain, because you just literally you train so much more, and despite having more muscle, you can still run faster just by pushing yourself really hard.
Yeah, that is true. So one of the most interesting races I found about you was 2015 Brazil, your first half Ironman. And after the race, you said it was the first time that the mental side had overridden the physical side. So what happened during that race? Yeah, so like you say, it was my first long distance. So we were kind of just going in to test it out to see if I enjoyed it, and I got into, so I didn't know that much about nutrition, like about how much to drink or eat during the race. So on the first speed bump on the bike, I lost my bottle, and I thought, well, I'm in a race, like I'm not going to slow down at the aid stations and grab any bottles. So I didn't drink a lot on the bike, and then I got off onto the run, and I managed to run my way into first place. And then I thought, probably had about 6K to go, and I started to feel really dizzy. It was quite hot as well, and the same thing, I'd been running through aid stations, but I didn't want to slow down, so I wasn't really taking any drink on. And then for sort of 6K got to 5K, and I thought, okay, I really don't feel too good now, but I just kept telling myself, everyone's hurting the same. Come on, like you just got to dig deep. Like don't let anything negative go in your head. Just put yourself. I was like, you love this pain. This pain's going to make you stronger. Just keep running. So
for the next like 3K, I just kept counting in my head, and I just had this like pounding drum in my head, and I couldn't see properly. Like I felt terrible, but I thought, as long as you just keep counting to yourself, like feet will keep moving forwards. Because I was quite a bit in the lead at this point, so I knew that I could win the race. And then I got to a K to go, and I just suddenly just saw black and fainted.
Oh gosh.
Opened my eyes to kind of all these faces looking down at me, and I think I was in the the medical people came, and I was probably lying on the road for about 20 minutes, and managed to they wanted me to stop, and I was like, no, I have to finish. Like, I've got 1 kilometer.
Might as well finish, yeah.
And I managed to hobble in. I think I came 5th in the end, but
which is still impressive after 20-minute sit down.
Yeah, and I learned a lot. I to be honest, I didn't expect, or maybe I didn't respect my body that much to think like I didn't think it would just shut down like that. And it was a big learning curve. But so then they whisked me off to the medical tent at the finish line, and my coach came in so relieved, and she was like, "Oh, I thought you died," and I was like, "Whoa." What? I thought she's being a bit dramatic here. Yeah, their English wasn't very good. So when she'd been waiting at the finish line because she thought for sure I'd won, and when I didn't come through, she was asking everyone, like, obviously where I was, and they told her that I passed away on the course. We remembered it, so it was a fun trip.
So it sounds like a great experience, yeah. Now, I mean, you have a really interesting relationship with pain. You talk about going in the dark side and just looking for pain. So how do you conceptualize that? Like, what is your relationship with pain?
Yeah, I think there's obviously the negative pain. So I went for, that was so basically I had patellar tendinopathy to begin with, and then I just kept running through it. So I was pretty used to kind of always running on knee pain, and definitely wasn't a good thing, and definitely I shouldn't have done it. And looking back, like obviously really regret it, but I kind of, so that perception of pain, that was obviously a negative pain, but I always thought your mind can endure most things. Like you never underestimate what you can sort of endure. And then when I had my knee surgery, and all I wanted to do was run, and I just thought that it can never be a bad, when you're running and you're hurting just because your lungs are bursting or your muscles are fatiguing, but not that sharp pain. Instead, that pain that you're getting stronger. I kind of I just crave that so much, and I think it's almost like that. The only way I can describe it is you having a battle with yourself. So your body's saying, "Oh, you know what? Like I'm hurting here. Or every part of your physical body wants to just collapse on the sofa, whereas every part of your mental brain is like because your brain controls your body. And I always think it's just winning that battle over of just explaining to the muscles that you can do this. Like just that, I don't know, and it's just reaching that. It's almost like a numbness. Like there'll be a point that you get to, that you reach, that okay, I've got here, I've reached it. Like it's not going to get any hard, like it's not going to hurt any more than this. I just have to hold on now. And that's the feeling that I love, that when you've hit that point where okay, it can't, like my lungs physically can't scream anymore. Do is just hold this, and for the longer I hold it, the stronger I'm going to get. And I love that place. I love that feeling. Yeah, it's hard to describe, but that would be how, if I had to put it in words, that would be what.
Oh, for sure. I know that from my own running. Like sometimes, like when you go so hard and like you feel like you're dying, but you keep going just a little bit longer, like that's the best feeling in the world. So I'm curious, like what does your self-talk look like? I mean, you've raced for up to like 4 hours. I mean, now the Ironman is going to be a little bit over 8 hours for you. So how do you stay focused on being positive throughout the whole race?
Yeah, I think that this is something it took me a little time to get used to on the 70.3, and where maybe I think it's going to have to be trained even more so in the Ironman, is that feeling of everything hurting. Like you don't hit that straight away. It's not like a 1500 meter race where you're boom, like straight into it, and you're killing it from the start. A 70.3, I'd say a little bit more so. You can be pretty much on your limit for a lot of the race. Whereas, yeah, Ironman is actually about having the patience to not get into that zone until they say normally about the last 20k of the run is the only point you want to be really starting to hurt.
Oh, wow.
If you hurt too much before that, then you're not going to make the finish line. So yeah, it's that kind of, I think this weekend is going to be really different to the 70.3s. I've learned to just think, okay, from the start, I have to be honest. I'm going to sprint out on the swim because it's my weakest, and I just have to all day long just keep on gunning on, and that's what I just say to myself. I just say, come on, all day long, you just got to keep gunning. And yeah, just always, the minute you're not telling yourself to push is like a second they could be putting 10 seconds into you up the road, and that's how races are won or lost. Whereas, yeah, this weekend I'm going to go in and think, okay, I don't want to be in that pace. I gotta, it's almost just being patient in that like a championship 1500, like a tactical where everyone goes out and they're jogging and you're in that hustle and you just got to keep, you're just jogging. You got to track it until you know that the sprint is going to come down, but you're playing tactical. And that's the only way that I can, think that the weekend is going to be, it's going to be more about, okay, just keeping a lid on it for a bit longer.
Oh, for sure. I believe that. I mean, running for like that long, like 8-9 hours sounds totally crazy to me. I mean, the longest I ever did was a 10K in a race. So what does your pre-race routine look like? Like, how do you prepare mentally for a race like that?
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I try not to think. So maybe a week out. So in training, when I'm training hard, I'll be thinking about the races that I've got coming up. I'll be thinking about the goals. But then kind of come when all the preparation is done and when you've prepared like nutrition and you've taught tactics and everything, I just try and shut off. I try and think, okay, this is going to be, it's almost like tapering the brain as well. So keeping your mind off it, keeping everything fresh. So keeping the body fresh, not overtraining, not overthinking. And I'm not one of those people that can just sit around and do nothing. I do quite a lot of work. I coach athletes, so I'll be writing their programs and talking to them, and just trying to just stay really balanced and almost I probably shut myself away a bit, just relax in the hotel room and just really chill out beforehand, I'd say.
Do you have any tips for other athletes on how to develop that kind of mental toughness?
Yeah, I think you've just got to love it. I think it's got to be something that whatever the reason is, the reason has to be bigger than the whatever you find hard. So if it's, I don't know, maybe it's a discipline, like you find the swim hard, or maybe you're not looking forward to swimming so close to other people, or whatever it is in your mind that you're not looking forward to, you've got to override it with every reason that you're doing it. So what do you love about it? What are you aiming for? Who are you doing it for? Or what do you want out of it? I think you just really focus on everything that drives you, and just forget about the things that you're not looking forward to, because you'll overcome them by thinking of all the good stuff.
Again, so now I've got to ask you, what drives you? What is your reason to compete?
Yeah, so what drives me? That's a good question. Is I think, again, it's that inside feeling, that place that, you know, when you're fitter and you're stronger than ever, like when you know you've worked harder than ever before, then that inner, and you're always moving forward. That's kind of the inside bits that drive me, and then the external things, just the amount of support I get. Like I think of all the people that always believe in me, that always take the time out to say good luck, that follow my journey, and I just think of them, and that I'd say is the biggest driving point. Kind of my coach, my mom, everyone that's been a part of it. I want to make them proud.
Wow, I love that. So what would you say is one of the most challenging aspects of training and racing for you?
I think I probably find the most challenging, like I love to train, so I love the push, and I love all the adrenaline from the sessions and the really tough days, yeah, I love that. I think the hardest thing about it is for me probably tapering. So when you've had all these endorphins and you're constantly used to being on the go and used to feeling fit, and then suddenly you've got to start resting up, and you feel like, oh, I'm feeling lethargic, I'm getting heavy, yeah, it's just not a feeling that you crave those highs. Yeah, I'd say it's like a drug, hey, and you're addicted to the constant push, and so to have that taken away, yeah, I suddenly start feeling, oh, I'm not productive, and yeah, I say that's tough. And then also the sacrifice that you have to make. So maybe, yeah, not seeing friends for long periods of time, not missing out on family stuff. Yeah, you gotta, to be the best, you gotta be disciplined, and there's definitely stuff that you don't get to do that, yeah, maybe a normal person would.
So, what are your plans for the rest of the season?
So my main goals are the 70.3 worlds. And yeah, after that, I just so that's in early September. And I'm doing one race between now and then yeah, gonna plan after that, see possibly Kona, possibly a string of 70.3s, and then another Ironman. Yeah, I haven't planned.
Oh, Kona sounds fun for sure. So what's the ultimate goal for your career? Anything on your bucket list?
Yeah, so Kona would be the ultimate goal is definitely Kona.
Do you have a favorite mantra or quote that you live by, or did you repeat to yourself daily?
Yeah, I so train with the fight of the underdog and race with the confidence of a champion. Yeah, that's always what I say to my athletes as well. Yeah, just train with that hunger, train with that fight, and then race with the calm and coolness of a champion.
What would you say was one of the best or most worthwhile investments that you ever made in your life? So it could be anything in the form of time, energy, money.
Yeah, I think probably just saying that, probably taking the time to talk to people and to say thank you, and to form relationships, because I know the people that have put the time into me. So yeah, people like Kelly, like Michelle Dillon, my coach, the people that, yeah, whatever happens, still encourage and believe in you. And I think that's the same. Like you never know what you say or just one little thing that you do could really help change a person's life. And I'd say, yeah, just taking the time to have that contact with the people that take the time to contact you.
So what do you think holds people back from reaching their full potential in triathlon and athletics in general?
Yeah, I'd say probably there's a lot of talent out there. Yeah, they always say that the hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. But I think working hard, that hard work ethic is a talent in itself. And I think, yeah, probably there's a lot of distractions. There's a lot of, life is so busy, and there's so many opportunities and things that you can do. And I think to go down and commit everything to one thing and put all you have into that one thing is maybe too much of a risk for some people.
Now, but before I ask my final question, where can people connect with you online?
I'm probably not the best at social media. I try. I think I'm getting better. So I try to post on Instagram. I have I think it's M_Pallant, Duathlon Coaching. We have a Facebook page, and yeah, I do Facebook through that sometimes, and Twitter. Yeah, I tweet.
Now, final question: what does mental mastery mean to you?
Mental mastery, I would say. So to be a master of something is obviously, yeah, to excel in it. So to excel at the mental side of things, I'd say is your mental mind being able to overcome your physical. So again, going back to what we talked about, that when you to hit that kind of real place of progression in training is when your body doesn't want to do it anymore. Your body just wants to stop. It just wants to slow down, and your mind sort of overtakes that, overrides it, and gets your body to hold on to that place and to keep going at the speed that it's going. And I'd say that's mental mastery, when the mental side overcomes the physical.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. And thank you to everyone who tuned in to today's episode of Mental Mastery. Tune in daily for new episodes on how you can achieve mental mastery and live a happy and successful life. And if you would like a little extra push, head over to my website maxweigand.com for a free ebook on mastering self-discipline and willpower. There, you can also sign up for my one-on-one habit coaching program, where I help you master your habits and achieve your goals. Also, if you like this interview, feel free to rate and review the show. Until next time,